In lesson 1.35, you'll be seeing again the man going through the activities of a typical day. And each of these activities, of course, is highlighting one of the most common verbs. As you go through the description of his activities, there'll be a few miscellaneous vocabulary words which you by now either should know or will need to learn in order to give the same description yourself. They're not high priority vocabulary words, but they're necessary to complete the ideas. For example, I think I picked out four that are of low priority. However, you need to know them simply in order to finish the description. The first is bolsillo, el bolsillo, which means the pocket. He's putting la cartera, pone la cartera en el bolsillo. He's putting his wallet in his pocket. The second is, this is a word which will be important, but which will be presented to you in Unit 3, and that's las manos, las manos. Él se lava las manos. And of course, you've heard that many times since the very first 5 verbs that you learned. The third of these words is el restaurante. A restaurante, of course, is a restaurant, and you need to talk about it or know the word in order to talk about where they go to buy the hamburger for the man's son. And then last of all, la respuesta. He comes up with the answer thanks to his teacher's help, and he has to write down la respuesta, which is the answer. So those are 4 words that you need to be aware of in order and able to use in order to complete your sentences, but they're not really high priority as far as their importance at this point otherwise. You'll notice that you'll be able to answer or be able to give the description of a number of those pictures with just a single word. You'll see it, for example, him saying, or him thinking over the answer to the problem he's trying to solve, and that simply could be described with piensa, piensa. Of course, you could say él piensa. However, the él is not necessary, especially as you're going through a series of activities all done by the same person. Simply saying piensa is quite sufficient, and you'll find that the same thing can be done. A single word answer can be given, or a description can be given for other pictures in that series. One point that brings up, which is worth mentioning, is as subjects are changed, as we go from the man doing an activity to his son, the boy doing an activity, you will need at that point repeat the subject. You'll need to say el muchacho, or su hijo, or el hijo, or el muchacho, simply because as you change subjects, if you can continue saying the verbs without indicating the subject, then the listener assumes that you're still speaking about the initial subject, which would have been the man. So when it's the boy doing the activity, the first time he does an activity, you need to say el muchacho, and then whatever he does. Then after that, if he continues doing some action, then you don't need to repeat el each time. Got it? Okay, it's time for you to move on to lesson 1.35. In the first section, you're going to simply listen to this description of those actions, and then in the second section, you have a limited period of time in which to give the same description yourself. Adios.